There was a time where Telltale Games was given the title of the most successful storytelling company. They made the pinnacle game adaptation of The Walking Dead, something that still holds up today as one of the best stories that came out of that series to date. So that when I log on to Reddit and Twitter, seeing the words layoff and Telltale in the same sentence, you'd expect me to be surprised. But I'm not. I'm not surprised because over the past 6 years, Telltale Games has done nothing but let the public down. Their famed storytelling has become a shadow of what it used to be. It'll never be the same. In September of 2018, Telltale Games laid off 90% of their staff. Originally 250 employees, now they only have 25. The CEO, Pete Hockley, published a very short statement on Twitter saying,
"It's been an incredibly difficult year for Telltale as we work to set the company on a new course. Unfortunately, we ran out of time trying to get there. We released some of our best contents this year and received a tremendous amount of feedback, but ultimately that did not translate to sales. With a heavy heart, we watch our friends leave today to spread our brand of storytelling across the game industry."
And they've been silent ever since. Actually, wait. I wanted to interject that as of the 25th of December, they've issued another statement on their Twitter stating that their famed final Walking Dead season may or may not be picked up by one or multiple third parties. Hopefully this is the case. We don't know for sure who these third parties are or if this will actually happen, but here's to hoping. All information regarding the Walking Dead season finale from here on out may or may not be true, yada yada yada. They still haven't talked about the 225 employees who were laid off or if they're actually getting their final check, but hey, just wanting to let you guys know, back to what I was saying. Oh wait, another interject. Looks like they just got hit with a class action lawsuit regarding the people who they fired not getting paid their required money. Good on those guys. Hope it goes well with them. Back to the video. The few information we do know about this news is that the remaining employees are currently working on Netflix's Minecraft Story Mode series, and that possibly all other projects have been cancelled. Yes, that means The Wolf Among Us Season 2, and yes, that means Game of Thrones Season 2. What this major studio closure means, we're not entirely sure. It's only been a few days since this small statement, and Telltale Games hasn't made any other statements regarding the future of the company, but considering the bleak outlook Pete Hawley hinted at in the Twitter statement, it doesn't look too good. And one final thing, we don't know if the Walking Dead season finale is truly cancelled or if it's put on the back burner till Minecraft Story Mode is finished, but considering the company is currently on autopilot, this also isn't looking good. Telltale Games' demise wasn't a surprise to me, not because of all the things I've said previously, but because of this one thing. They chose quantity over quality. 2012 and 2013 were the magnum opus years of Telltale Games. They had just finished the first season of The Walking Dead, and were starting on an entirely new series, one that fans of the company consider the second best game they've created so far. The Wolf Among Us was the game that truly solidified their status as amazing storytellers. The Walking Dead introduced us to this company, but The Wolf Among Us made us stay. These were the golden years, ones that fans even till this day are reminiscent about. But after these two successful games, things started to get a little rocky. In 2013, Telltale Games writer Sean Vanaman left the company. Sean was the co-writer, co-director, and co-designer of The Walking Dead. You could say he's partially what made the game successful. It's no surprise then that his very next project, Firewatch, was a complete success regarding story and directing. The absence of Vanaman is when things started to go downhill, but his absence isn't the only reason. After The Wolf Among Us, The Walking Dead Season 2 came out. This was the one big game that everyone was waiting for, the continue of Clementine's story. Everyone was excited. This game was meant to wow us completely. But it didn't. After the rose-tinted glasses fell off our heads, and we started to look at the game constructively, we realized that it didn't hit the right curveballs. Didn't wow us as much as it was supposed to. But how could it? The Walking Dead has such a big following and widespread love towards its story and characters that truly nothing Telltale Games made after would have surpassed it. It would have been impossible. But because of this, Telltale Games' popularity started to decline. It continued with Game of Thrones in 2014, their third game after The Walking Dead Season 1. currently this game has a 7 out of 10 rating on Steam. The writing wasn't as good, nor were the characters. There was nothing all that new that could have been told with substance in this series. And then in 2015, Minecraft Story Mode. It also currently stands at a 7 out of 10 on Steam. And then in 2016 came out 2 games, Batman and The Walking Dead Season 3, both currently 7 out of 10 on Steam. The only game that ever made and published that reached 10 out of 10 on Steam were The Walking Dead Season 1 and The Wolf Among Us. It's not a coincidence that these 2 games are also the only ones that anyone ever really talks about. It's even shown regarding the studio's closure. Maybe not intentionally, but definitely noticeable. The Wolf Among Us Season 2 cancelled. The Walking Dead Season 4's future unsure. The 2 games' sequels got more shock and sadness about their cancelling than Game of Thrones Season 2 or even that unnamed Stranger Things game Telltale and Netflix were hinting at. All games succeeding Vanaman's departure have dropped significantly in quality, both due to writing and gameplay. In 2013, Telltale's gameplay was considered unique mainly because games in similar regards weren't being made. They were a one-of-a-kind. 6 years later, and they still haven't changed their gameplay. They've fallen into a set-piece mindset. Things weren't as surprising because they've already done it. Or the series doesn't have anything new it could say. The quality wasn't the main driving force, nor was the story. It was the potential money that they knew they would get eventually. What I mean by eventually is how they sell their games. Episodically. Episodic games aren't new, but they were. Back when The Walking Dead was still a new game, not many other games had done such a thing. And a lot of people saying this very series was the main reason why episodic games are so famous now. But it's not new with Telltale games. They've always done episodic games. Before The Walking Dead, there was Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park was one of the first episodic games that Telltale Games published way back in 2011. You could say it's a precursor to what's to come, but to be honest, I think it's a good descriptor. But before that, I wanted to talk about how selling your game episodically is a bad idea if you can't guarantee the amount of sales cover your game's cost. It's why episodic games do so well on the first episode compared to the last episode. Think Life is Strange. The last episode is very quick-paced when compared to the first episode's slow pace. Because of how hard it is to sell an episodic game to the general public, and with how one Twitter statement said that the sales weren't looking too hot, I think Telltale Games weren't making enough money partially due to the way that they marketed and sold their games. It may have worked then when episodic games were getting famous, but now that it's run its course, I feel selling their games this way may have been a detriment to their sale numbers. Back to Jurassic Park. It'll make sense, I swear. This game didn't do so hot. There were a lot of players, critiques, and game magazines that gave this game a very average to below average rating. You can tell why it wasn't the game that put Telltale on its map. Considering this game isn't very quality or up to snuff by many fans of the company, similar to their most recent games, you have to ask yourself, were The Walking Dead and The Wolf Among Us outliers? It seems like it. There's a reason I highlighted the games that didn't do as well, because there's only 2 other games that did as well as The Wolf Among Us, and 1 that did as well as The Walking Dead. Out of the 12 games that have been published after the success that is The Walking Dead, only 4, arguably 5 games were praised by fans, the rest being mediocre when compared, and 1 going unfinished, possibly cancelled. These 12 don't count the current Netflix exclusive Minecraft Story Mode shown, nor do they count the games published prior to The Walking Dead, as I feel that would be unfair as the company wasn't well known prior to said game. Telltale Games' demise is what I feel an inevitable. The quality of their game's story and gameplay has degraded greatly over time, using an outdated source engine and blatant disregard of the many critiques by players and professional journalists alike, until it was too late. They piggybacked off their very first successful game until it became a husk of what it was once before, and couldn't even give us the closure we deserved. Goodbye, Telltale Games. We will remember this.